Pam Merrigan, and I'll be your MC for the evening. The first thing I would like to do is acknowledge the traditional owners of the country on which we are holding our festival tonight. That will be the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. And of course, this is where Sydney Folk Festival normally takes place. But of course, we would also like to acknowledge the traditional custodians and owners of country throughout Australia, especially New South Wales. And we also would like to recognise their continuing connection with land, waters and with culture. And of course, we would like to very much pay our respects to their elders, both past, present and emerging. Well, everyone, welcome to Sydney Folk Festival at Home. I can tell you it's taken a little bit to get this all together, and we're all a little bit nervous. We know that we'd rather be sitting in a live concert hall watching from a chair with our whole pile of people, maybe 100 people or more in the show. But I hope you're all comfortable. I hope you've got your snacks. I hope you're in your comfy chair, and I hope you're really, really ready for some fantastic music this evening. We have a wonderful program of music tonight and also throughout the whole of the weekend. I don't want to waste any more time because I know you're here for the music, so I'll take, with no further ado, please, however you're going to do this at home, make Shelley's Murder Boys, our first artist for the evening and the opening act for our concert, very welcome.
Hello, thank you for having us.
Starch 9 wouldn't be your trade. Just get drunk and lie in the shade. Say, darling, say. Hush, little girl, don't say a word. I'm gonna buy you a mockingbird. Say, darling, say. If that mockingbird won't sing, I'm gonna buy you a diamond ring. Say, darling, say. If that diamond ring turns brass, I'm gonna buy you a looking glass. Say, darling, say. If that looking glass gets broke, I'm gonna buy a billy goat. Say, darling, say. If that billy goat won't pull, I'm gonna buy a cotton bull. Say, darling, say. If that cotton bull falls down, yells to the prettiest girl in town. Say, darling, say. Honey, the old oak tree, say, darling, say. Live in the honey, the old oak tree, children sitting on your knees, say, darling, say. Old oak tree will make our home, never do more this world to roam, say, darling, say. I'd fall on my knees, I'd fall on my knees, fall on my knees just for you, little girl. I'd fall on my knees just for you. Well, I wish to the Lord I'd never been born or died when I was young, little girl. I wish I'd died when I was young. I never would have seen your blue, blue eyes or heard your lying tongue, little girl, heard your lying Well, you told me more lies than stars in the sky. You'll never get to heaven when you die, little girl. You'll never get to heaven when you die. Well, look up, look down that lonesome road. Hang down your head and cry, little girl. Hang down your head and cry. Well, look up, look down that long, lonesome road. Know that I am gone, little girl. Goodbye, little darling, I'm gone. Okay, this next one's about the Prohibition era and a woman who made moonshine.
Even on Zoom, the banjo never stays in tune. Hello.
All right. Oh, wake up, darling Corrie. What makes you sleep so sound? The revenue officers are coming. They're gonna tear your still house down. Oh, wake up, darling Corrie, and go and get my gun. No, I ain't a woman for fighting, but I'll die before I run. Well, the last time I saw darling Corrie, she was sitting by the banks of the sea, with a rifle strapped around her and a banjo on her knee. Dig a hole in the meadow, dig a hole in the cold, cold ground. Dig a hole in the meadow, we're gonna lay old Corrie down.
Oh, thank you very much, everybody out there listening.
We don't know if you're clapping.
I can hear the applause from here.
So this song is from an album we released last year. It's called Eds. Who starts this?
You do.
I should have known what you were trying to say to me. You took your time was running off its feet. Give your lump, see ya, don't go anywhere. Talk about life and death, got nothing left to fear. There are no answers to the questions that we're asking around here. And you were right, your shadow's bigger than mine. So you stand in the shade, borrow darkness that you find. Feel the breeze in the air, don't go anywhere. Talk about life and if it'll all turn out okay. And I'll just listen to you talk till you've got nothing left to say. You go through life knowing more than anyone about how life can be so hard and how to hold far. Talk about life, but if it'll all turn out okay, and I'll just listen to you talk till you've got nothing left to say. The times change eventually, and all of this will fade. I'd like to take away our trouble, only ever fail, only ever fail.
Thank you, folks.
We're gonna hand you over to Jimmy.
You want to swap or you want to stay in the middle there?
Oh,
What are we
yeah.
gonna do?
Well, let's just turn the mic.
We're
a
working
bit.
in a tight
There we
little
go.
perimeter here of the lovely, gracious hosts of this living room. We've got Negronis and a small glass of cerveza. So cheers to you all out there. Happy Friday evening. Hope you're enjoying. Hope it's sounding great. And thanks to all the organisers doing
Thank
such a
you,
great
yeah.
job putting this on.
We've been missing playing, so it's nice that people are still trying to
Engage with some music.
let us do stuff.
So this is another original Shelley's Murder Boys track. This is off our first EP, and this is called Rosemary Rose. Met you there once on that little high mountain ridge. The winter wind's blowing so free. The dreams that we made and the bed where we lay. Well, my heart's left in the cold, cold ground. Where did you go, Rosemary Rose? Where did you go, my sweet? Where did you go when you left me all alone, wandering in the garden last night? Now all those stars in the sky, like their little book filled with lies. Together we should have grown old. When the water runs dry on the cold mountainside, well, my heart's left in the cold, cold ground. Where did you go, Rosemary Rose? Where did you go, my sweet? Where did you go, and you left me all alone, wandering in the garden last night? I stole away in that cold moonlight. Silver moon hangs in the sky. The roots where I've grown of my mountain home. My heart's left in the cold, cold ground. Where did you go, Rosemary Rose? Where did you go, my sweet? Where did you go, and you left me all alone, wandering in the garden last night? Thank you very much.
You always have
So-
the last word.
Yes. I hope that's sounding okay. I know we just
Who knows?
pretty much excluded the banjo over there, but maybe
Maybe
it's
for the best.
maybe for the best. Yeah, that's right.
This next one's a little tune we wrote as a little tribute to a type of mouse that lives in the desert. It's called the grasshopper mouse, but it's characteristic for hunting its prey in the moonlight, and then when it catches something, it lets out a high-pitched whistle at the moon, which has earned it the nickname the werewolf mouse.
So when Shirley plays the high F, whatever it is,
You can whistle or howl to
howl
yourselves.
along to yourselves.
We'll be howling.
Will we? Okay.
We'll be howling.
Two, three. Nailed it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, so much to go. Okay. Sugar Baby.
Yeah.
Okay, this song's called Sugar Baby. So we have Jimmy here tonight,
Hi, folks.
and Joe,
Hey.
Shelley.
And
We
together.
have our fourth murder boy.
Oh, an
freeloader.
introduction.
Introducing.
He's
Little
not on any
Murder Boy.
instruments yet, but soon. Percussion.
I think sound engineer, road manager, gear, logger.
All right.
Let's do it.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
got no sugar baby now. Got no sugar honey baby now. Well, I laid her in the shade. I laid her in the shade. I gave her every dime I made. What else could a poor boy do? What else could a poor boy do? Who call me honey? Who call me honey? And who sing the song? Who rock the cradle when you're gone? Who rock the cradle when you're gone? I'll rock the cradle. I'll rock the cradle and I'll sing the songs. I'll rock the cradle when you're gone. I'll rock the cradle when you're gone. Well, I ain't got no use. I ain't got no use for that red rocking chair. Got no sugar baby now. Got no sugar honey baby now.
Yeah. All right.
We got there.
Yeah, on that one, eh?
Oh, so this next song we wrote during better times when we could freely travel about the place. And this song's about going snorkeling with some sea turtles in Byron Bay. It's called Float Me Out. Float me out, push me under, make me forget anything but water. Float me out, push me under. I was chasing an oblivion when I was floating out to sea. Things are peaceful under the roaring, above it's a roar and I wanna go under. Above it's a roar and I wanna go under. Float me out, push me under, make me forget anything but water. Float me out, push me under. All around me I feel noise and danger, but the smoke's from the toaster, it's not from the fire. Smoke's from the toaster, it's not from the fire. Float me out, push me under, make me forget anything but water. Float me out, push me under. My breath with the turtles and let the ocean drown out any sound. Float me out, push me under, make me forget anything but water. Float me out, push me under. forget anything but water. Float me out, push me under. Thank you. We're going to play one more song for you. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for giving us a reason to do a gig again. It's been very lovely. We didn't even have to leave our home. Well, Jimmy did.
It's very nice to play some music, and we hope you enjoy all the rest of the wonderful music coming up tonight and the
Over
next
the weekend.
couple of nights
Yeah,
as well. So,
yep, some great acts. Check them all out
Yeah.
from the comfort of your home. This next song you can sing along to in the comfort of your home if you like.
yeah.
All right. Love is a burning thing, and it makes a fiery ring. Bound by wild desire, I fell into a ring of fire. I fell into a burning ring of fire. Went down, 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 and the flames went higher, and it burns, burns, burns. The ring of fire, the ring of fire. I fell into a burning ring of fire. Went down, down, down. Flames went higher, and it burns, burns, burns. The ring of fire, the ring of fire. The taste of love is sweet when hearts like ours meet. I fell for you like a child. Oh, but the fire went wild. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, down, down. Flames went higher, and it burns, burns, burns. The ring of fire, the ring of fire. One more time. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher, and it burns, burns, burns. The ring of fire, the ring of fire. Thank you very much. We're Shelley's Motorboys. Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much, folks. Enjoy the rest of your festival and your evening.
Hey, thank you, Shelley's Murder Boys. That was fantastic. And don't go away just yet, because I did want to ask you about that lovely CD that you guys released last year. So tell us a little bit about it, Shelley.
So, Joe's got a
Oh,
an
well done,
example
Joe.
right there.
Oh, this is it on vinyl, and we also have a CD.
So we recorded this album last year, the year before now.
Oh gosh,
Oh,
it was
times-
December
In a
Yep.
happier time.
1 year.
We recorded this in a happier time.
We recorded it with Jim Magini in Oceanic Studios, and he was kind enough to lend us his skill and expertise, and yeah, we had a really great time recording it. It's a bunch of originals and some traditionals in there as well, and a lot of drums from
Yeah, we had the amazing Jake Pember from the Button Collective
Yeah.
come in and lay down some double bass for us, and who can resist
a
having-
favourite of everyone's.
having Jake Pember even join you in the studio is awesome. And we also had Rob Hurst from Midnight Oil. He was in and he played drums on a lot of it as well, and
And the Backsliders.
from the Backsliders as well. Sorry, and obviously Jim Majuni, who owns the studio, is also Midnight Oil, and he plays piano on one of the tracks as well. So it was sort of a great collaborative experience, and we got in
Very
lots of
lucky.
our favourite musicians to come and play on it, which
Yeah.
is really great, and we were really happy with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I first heard you guys actually on ABC Radio doing a one of those Simon Marnie shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, his Sonic Journey, and
Journey, yeah.
that was fantastic.
Yeah, and anything Simon does is
We're a big Simon Marnie
great.
fan.
We love
We're
Simon.
grateful for Simon's
Yeah.
advocacy.
Yep.
He called us
Well-
up when we were heading out over the mountains to play at Millthorpe Bowling Club and got
Yeah.
a live update from us on the road, which was pretty fun.
You gave us advice, I think. I think you gave
Yeah,
us lots
somewhere
of
to eat.
advice on
He always knows where to
yeah,
eat
somewhere
and-
good to eat on the way to Millthorpe, which was
Yep.
Oh, that's really fantastic. Well, I hope. I think at some point we'll flash up the details a little bit later on of your merch page, and I would urge everyone to get a copy of that CD because I think if it sounds as great as the performance, we've had some really fantastic comments. Elizabeth Chase, I'm just seeing she put 3 hearts up and said she was loving it. Peter Hood said basically he was really liking the live music, even if it was from lounge room to lounge room. We've got Margaret Bradford, the Winnett. There's heaps of people watching out there, and they're really getting into the live chat. So,
Yeah.
so
Great.
that's great. So, look, enjoy the
everyone.
rest of your evening, and thank you
Yeah.
so much, Shelley's Murder Boys, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
See
you,
later.
everyone. Bye.
Okay, we're going to cross to a little promo for one of the concerts we've got a little bit later on in the weekend. You can have a bit of a taste of Chaika.
Listening to the wind blows all around me. The mornings are forever. Waking up with the sun, sitting in horizontal. Laborate machinery, drop my hands in the ocean. Water gives me direction. Ooh, ah, yeah. Ooh, ah, yeah. Ooh, ah, yeah. Ooh, ah, yeah. Sun waves me to follow through the trees like an arrow to a place where the wind blows, blowing for tomorrow. Rolling hills they lie low, blue moon dream meander. Heavy raindrops rest on leaves for a moment to fall. Listening to the wind blows all around me. The mornings are forever. Waking up with the blood, sitting in horizontal. Elaborate on machinery, drop my hands in the ocean. Water gives me direction. Ooh, ah, yeah. 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 Ooh, ah, yeah.
Oh, well, there's a nice little taste of something we've got coming up for you on Sunday afternoon. That's Chaika, and they'll be closing out the festival at the 4 o'clock concert. Well, they don't start at 4, the concert starts at 4. And actually, you can still get your tickets if you haven't got them. In fact, we will be selling tickets at the door, so to speak, although it's not quite the door, is it? Because I'm in my lounge room, and I guess you all are too. And look, I've been absolutely loving the chat that we've been seeing. Everybody's really getting stuck into it, and I think that's great. I really enjoyed that set from Shelley's Murder Boys, and we've got a lovely performer coming up in another couple of minutes, and that's Warren Fay. So please stay tuned for Warren. I would like to encourage you to use the chat, and the other thing that I'd love you to do is to take a photo, a selfie if you're on your own, or if you're with a group of friends and you're watching the show, take a photo of your little festival party. And you can go to our Facebook page, the Sydney Folk Festival Facebook page, and there's a photo there that says welcome, and underneath there in the comments section you can actually post a little message there, and you can post a photo of you and your friends enjoying tonight's concert. Now, we're very fortunate in that we're partnering with Podstream, and Podstream's an organisation from the Central Coast, and they've been doing all the work that you see to get our artists out of our Zoom room here, where our sort of virtual green room backstage, if you like, and they're working really hard to get the artists over onto YouTube and streaming out into all of your lounge rooms. So great job from Podstream and from Dale and his team. Although I suspect that Dale's team might be a team of one, but they're doing a fantastic job. So maybe give them a thumbs up if you're enjoying the show as well in the chat, because it's nice to see that. But yeah, keep the chat going, because that is definitely great to hear. And don't forget about Facebook. Look, the Folk Federation is really delighted to be running this show tonight, and the whole weekend of concerts. We didn't go over the top. We kept it what we thought would be manageable, because of course, well, we're all novices at this, and I know that we're all dying for live music to come back. The people who consume it, the people who produce it, we all want to get back to normal. But until we do, this is what we've got, and this is what we're going with. And I'm so pleased that many of you are out there and really enjoying it. And look, we're valuing the support that you're giving us. It's fantastic. So yeah, thank you very much. Anyway, as I said before, you're not here to hear me. You're here to hear the artists, and I have Warren Fay. He's waiting backstage, and I think he's probably ready to come your way. So please, I'm not sure whether you cheer or clap or whatever, but please, whatever you do, make Mr. Warren Fay very welcome.
Do you remember the summer of 23, the year the heat melted the rocks in the backcountry, the year the sand fused to glass, and the sun burnt that strip down Murchison Pass? Well, I was there in that terrible heat, where the borders of West and South Australia meet, about 600 miles from Unapelli. Yeah, that was the time that I met Ned Kelly. Out of that terrible Hell Haze heat strode Kelly, his arms covered in heat. He said, "I'm Kelly, all right, and I'm twice as dead as you'll ever be. For 40 years I've wandered this place looking for a decent drinking mate." "Well, you've found him now," I quickly said. "How about we put some of those bottles to bed?" Well, we sat in the sun and we drank for days. And we talked of those days when men wore guts where they now wear stays. Then came the sound of many marching feet, and a line of men fractured that desert heat. And out of that terrible Hell Haze, it was old Paddy Hannon, God strike me days, followed by Ben Hall, and Burke and Wills, Old Jack Donahue and Saltbush Bill, and each man carried some grog as cold as the tomb. Kelly and I moved to give 'em some room, to put down the keg that was carried by Hall, slap bang in the middle and on tap for all. Well, next came Henry Lawson and Ludwig Leichhardt, who said, "Lassiter's coming, but it's okay to start. We've invited some mates from the desert nearby. They're all decent blokes, so here's mud in your eye." Well, next came a green-coloured kangaroo and an overweight wombat that did a soft shoe, a dingo with performing fleas, and a big fat soprano bird that sang off key. A big black smoke sang Old Lang Syne, while a marsupial mouse with its nose twitched time. Yeah, we sat in the sun and we drank for a week with the finest fellas you'd ever meet. I danced me a jig for comic relief, and disturbing the sand, I discovered Lassiter's Reef. There were diamonds and rubies and sulphurs galore. There was one diamond as big as that knob on the door. Yes, sapphires and rubies, a fabulous haul, and a bucket of gold for every shovelful. But despite all that amazing wealth, each man was content unto himself. The party broke up in a year and a day, and each man, well, he went his own way. I went south to the Nullarbor Plains. In about 2 or 3 weeks, I was back home again. And I never did talk of the people that I'd seen. I never did talk of the places I'd been. But I learnt one important fact: never drink in the sun without wearing a hat. Now, it seems unthinkable to me that 50 years ago, this year, I produced the Port Jackson Folk Festival. And it was the 4th National Folk Festival. In those days, it used to travel around the country. And it's an honour to be here today and it's a bit of a relief, really, to celebrate the New South Wales Folk Federation's 50th anniversary. It's quite an achievement, and it's an organisation which I helped to establish. So I'm very proud of the fact that it's gone on for this long and it's going full speed into the future. 1970, well, I still remember it. It was a big year. The biggest hit of the year was Elvis Presley's The Wonder of You. But it was also the year that Steel Eye Span put out its first record, Hark the Village Wait. It was also the year Eliza Carthy was born and Sandy Denny died. And there was a young Scots migrant called Eric Bogle, who was down in Canberra working as an auditor and started to scratch out some songs. And the next year, he put out a song called And the Band Played Waltzing Matilda. And that song celebrates its 50th anniversary next year. That'll be quite something. In Sydney, in 1970, I was helping run the famous Elizabeth Folk Club in the Elizabeth Hotel, but it was closing. So I started another one called the Edinburgh Castle Folk Club, and that ran for quite a few years. It was also 50 years ago that I started collecting folklore, and that poem that I recited, I got from a man called Bob Taylor in Townsville. Now, I've never really seen myself as much of a singer. I'm really a storyteller, a historian that uses songs as signposts to our history. It works for me. I'm going to sing you quite an unusual song now. It's a song called Heenan and Sayers. It's a song about boxing. I know a few songs about boxing, but this one comes from 1860, and it was the last really big bare knuckle fight. Believe it or not, it went on for 87 rounds, and both the fighters, Tom Sayers, who was All England champion, and Heenan, who was an American Irishman, their faces were pulverized. It was a horrible thing. But the police ended up breaking up the fight. In the audience was Charles Dickens, the Prince Albert, and Lord Tennyson. That's just some of the audience. The thing that interests me is that I collected some of the words from Joe Watson of Caringbah in Sydney in 1973, and I subsequently found out the song was extremely popular on the goldfields of Australia. I did a little bit of research last week and I came up with a parody. If you look on the festival's site, you'll see the parody that I found from 1894 in Cobham in Victoria. Anyway, here's the song. It's a... I'm going to go back a bit so you can see I'm actually playing a concertina. You ranting lads and your sporting blades will listen to my song. It's just a little ditty and it won't detain you long, long, long. Oh, sorry about that. On the 17th of February, when thousands waddled with joy, when they saw their English champion fight that Albanese boy. It was early in the morning before the cock did crow. Like tigers into battle, well, these jolly lads did go. A fight was all in favour of that bold Irish boy. Boy, when the bobbies belted in the ring, their hops he did destroy. It was in the town of Farnsborough, all in the bloomin' spring, when the burly English champion, he stripped off in the ring. He stripped to fight young Heenan, that jolly son of Troy, and try his English muscle on that Balbanisha boy. It's 2-1 on Sayers, the English cried with joy, when they saw their English champion fight that bold Irish boy. But the tiger rose within him, and lightning flashed his eyes, saying, roar away, old England, but Tommy, mind your eye. They fought for 2 hours and a half, each proved himself a man, till neither of these jolly lads they had a leg to stand. Old Heenan seen and lightning, and Heenan he was strong, and Heenan he trained lightning when his day's work was done. Oh, there never were two better lads, and none could be more game. They are both honest heroes of honour and of fame. Oh, Sayers trained with cannonballs, and he was good and strong, but Heenan played with lightning when his day's work was done. Sorry about the messing up of that, but you got the gist of the story. The image on the screen here was going at a different pace for me, and I was looking at it and thinking, what the hell am I supposed to be doing here? Anyway, in 1964, I was 18. I attended a concert called the Four Cities Capitals concert, and it had Gary Shearston and a whole lot of well-known singers at the time. I think Tina Day, Tina Lawton, but Duke Tritton came up, and he was an old-time bushy and cheerer. I'd met him a few times at the Bush Music Club, and he sang with great reverence, and he sang a song called Gurianawar, which talks about all the great shearing sheds of the 19th century. And I thought, well, that's a great song. I'd have to learn that. And one day I did. I hope you can see that I'm out here in the bush with a tent. Here, a mate of mine with a banjo, but it's got a bit of chorus. You can sing at home. I've been many years a shearer and fancied I could shear. I've shorn for Rouse of Dunterwang and always missed the spear. I've shorn for Nicholas Bailey. I'll relate to you that on his pure merino sheep I could always cut a few. But oh my, I never saw before the way we had to knuckle down at Gurianawar. I've been shearing down the Bogan as far as Dandaloo for good old Reed of Tambratong. I've often cut a few. Haddon, Wigan, Clombone, even Wingadee. I could close my shears at 6 o'clock with a quiet century. But oh my, I never saw before the way we had to knuckle down at Gurianawar. I've been shearing down the Golden Side as far as Douglas Park, where every day was wool away and Toby left his mark. I've shorn for General Stewart, whose tomb is on the mount, and the fights I've had with Strammy Jack are more than I can count. But oh my, I never saw before the way we had to knuckle down at Gurianawar. I've been shearing at Yagowra. I'll never forget the name where Gardner robbed the escort down the Lachlan Tame. I've shore at Terramunga Mine and on the Talbragar and McDermott for the cobbler when I shore at Bucton Bar. But oh my, I never saw before the way we had to knuckle down at Gurianawar. I've been shearing for John McMasters down on Rockedgel Creek. I could always dish him up with his 20 score a week. I've shorn for Bob Fitzgerald down on the Derby Rocks, Phil Me of Carlton and Mr. Henry Cox. But oh my, I never saw before the way we had to knuckle down at Gurianawar. But that was in the good old days. You might have heard them say how Smallthorpe rode from Bathurst down to Sydney in one day. But now I'm broken-mouthed and me shearing's at an end, and though they call me whalebone, I was never known to bend. And spare my flaming days, I never saw before the way we had to knuckle down at Gurianawar. Gurianawar, great old song. Well, jumping from the sheep's back to the back of a horse, there's so many songs and stories celebrating the stockmen of Australia. But I want to share with you a little ditty that Bill Harney used to say and sing. You know, the drovers, they were responsible for very large herds of cattle, and they had to keep them calm at night because of the dingoes. Wild dogs would sometimes, you know, cause a stampede and so forth. So the drovers got into the habit of playing the mouth organ, tin whistle, or singing songs, just so that the cattle knew that they were around. And one of the instruments that they did play, they could get them by mail order, was this. It's a jaw harp. It comes in all shapes and sizes because the smaller is the higher the pitch, the larger, the lower the pitch. This is in the middle. And you've got to be careful you don't knock your teeth out, but you can get a tune out of it, and it sounds like this. And the drovers used to make up songs. You know, they had to know all the brands. They had to, if they met at an artesian well, separate the various, if there was another drover there with his herd, they had to separate them. So they had to know the brands. That was part of their stock in trade. So they'd make up little ditties using the brand names, like, oh, the northern brand is NT1. NT1 is a northern brand. Oh, the northern brand is NT1. NT1 is a northern brand. Oh, the Gillicuddy brand is GGG. GGG is a Gillicuddy brand. Oh, the Gillicuddy brand is GGG. GGG is a Gillicuddy brand. Or they'd even just do a nonsense verse like, oh, the farmer chased his wife with a broom. He chased his wife with a broom. Oh, the farmer chased his wife with a broom. Chased his wife with a broom. Oh, the farmer chased the dog with the broom. He chased the dog with the broom. Oh, the farmer chased the dog with the broom. Chased the dog with the broom. And then they'd introduce the names of their fellow drovers and keep it going. Sometimes, well, who knows how long. But I've always been fascinated by those sort of stories. This is a little song that I've always loved, that, you know, there weren't that many women in the bush, and the idea of them, the shearers and drovers dancing with sheep, it's very New Zealand, you might think, but it did produce this song called You Abalong Ball. There's a verse in this that nobody else seems to sing, but it was in the original verse. And it's maybe because it mentions a commercial product that they got rid of it. Oh, who hasn't heard of You Abalong Ball? The lads of the Lachlan, the great and the small, come bent on diversion from far and from near, to shake off their troubles for just once a year. You Abalong Ball, it's a wonderful sight. The lads of the Lachlan, they were dancing all night, and many the laddie will blush to recall all the polkas he danced at You Abalong Ball. There were shearers aplenty, some 2 or 3 score, some wieners, some tutus, and some rather more, with their willies all fluffy and clean. Oh, the smartest young shearers you ever did see. You Abalong Ball, it's a wonderful sight. The lads of the Lachlan, they were dancing all night, and many the laddie will blush to recall all the polkas they dance at You Abalong Ball. The music struck up and it set us the pace. Some went at the canter and some tried to race. They were slipping and sliding and waltzing and gliding, and to vary the pace there were couples colliding. You Abalong Ball, what a wonderful sight. The lads of the Lachlan, they were dancing all night, riders was bounding about. The well sinkers seemed to be feeling the drought. The water was scarce, there was whiskey to spare. What you couldn't swallow, you rubbed in your hair. You Avalon Ball, it's a wonderful sight. The lads of the Lachlan, they were dancing all night, and many the laddie will blush to recall all the polkas he danced at New Avalon Ball. There was kissing and hugging, of course, on the sly, and tender emotion when saying bye-bye, and each man he swore he was right as a trivet, as he gulped down his 20th glass of Glenlivet. New Avalon Hall, it's a wonderful sight. The lads of the Lachlan, they were dancing all night, and many the laddie will blush to recall all the polkas they danced at New Avalon Ball. Now, I've just got time for one little poem to finish off with. This is, you know, in these strange COVID times, I hope you're looking after yourself, a lot of people are thinking about moving out of the cities. I have, but I was born in the city, Paddington. Tomorrow in the workshop, I'll be doing a whole, I guess not a life story, but I'll be talking about Australian folk songs, where they come from, where I've collected them from, other people have collected them, what they mean today in the 21st century. So tune in if you're interested in those sort of stories. I'll also be telling a few yarns and singing a few songs. I've always liked this poem. It's about going from the city to the bush. Bit of a warning, really. You hear a lot of new chum talk about going on the land and raising record crops of wheat on rocks and flaming sand. Now, I hate exaggerated skite, but if you like, I can elucidate a case when the land went on the man. Bill Jones, he had a mountain block down Kosciuszko way, farmed it nigh to death, the neighbours used to say. He scarified its surface with his double-furrowed plough, and he ate its bleeding heart out with his sheep and milking cow. He stuffed up its intestines with his agricultural pipes, limes and superphosphates fit to give the land the gripes, till this here land, worn out with Jonesy's thrift, reckoned that the time had come to up and make a shift. So, one morning the mountain shook itself and gave an almighty groan. The neighbours, they were more alarmed than they were game to own. Their eyes upon their chests they fell. Their eyes they opened wide to see Bill's farm upend itself and down the mountain slide. It slithered down the mountainside, majestic-like and slow, and ended in the riverbank 100 feet below. Well, Jones, he'd been out on the southern part of his long-suffering farm. He'd just been testing out a plough, was working like a charm. He'd just been screwing up a Noltney herder, an almighty crack, and 50 acres, more or less, came down on Jonesy's back. He'd just been standing there owning all that land. Next he's in eternity, a spanner in his hand. They never dug up no remains, no, nor bones of William Jones. The superphosphates ate the lot, hide buttons, boots and bones. For this here land, worn out by Jones's thrift, had turned around and things got evened up at last. So all you city coves saving up your screws to get upon the land, watch out, the land don't get on yous. There you go, folks. I'll see you tomorrow and we'll have another chat.
Oh dear. That's fantastic, Warren. Don't go away. I want to have a bit of a chat to you, actually. So just hang in there for a minute or two. That was a fantastic set, Warren, and it's
Sorry,
lovely
I buckled
to.
up that boxing one, but anyway, I kept going.
No, 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 it was great. Actually, some cheeky person wanted to know whether that's the photo behind of your last camping holiday.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's lovely, lovely to see, and a lot of lovely comments in the chat about really lovely to hear some dinky die Australian music. Fantastic, and you will be doing, of course, your workshop tomorrow, beating around the bush, and you did mention that in the concert, but would you like to just say a little bit more about that?
Yeah, look, what I thought I'd do was because, when you get to my age, you've seen a fair bit. I just wanted to explain to people what I think Australian folk music means, where it came from, why it sounds different, the tunes, the songs, why is our sense of humour so dry, so laconic? So I'll be talking about yarning, recitations, singing, what they mean. But I also, I'm a realist. I realise we live in the 21st century, and boy, is it a weird century. But
Say that again.
I want to sort of explain how storytelling is really underrated and how important it is to our lives that we have this escapism and also a connection to history, our own history and our own culture. So in the course of an hour, I'm going to share some of my favourite story songs and poems and chat about them,
Yeah,
where they came from.
well, that's excellent, and people can still actually purchase tickets for your workshop. So I'm hoping that if anyone out there hasn't got their tickets yet and they'd like to, they certainly can. It was very interesting, Warren, hearing about your experiences running that first Port Jackson Folk Festival, and of course, this was going to be our 50th year. And it is our 50th year. It wasn't going to be. It is, but
all things taken into account, this is a mighty effort this year, and maybe I think we could still have a bit of a celebration next year on the 51st year of the Folk Federation, because I think a lot of things have been put off this year, but people really do need to enjoy these sort of things. So yeah, let's do it, eh?
oh yeah, we might do a little something this year, and then we'll do a really big something next year. But anyway, Warren, look, thank you so much, and we will look forward to hearing your workshop tomorrow, and that is at 2:30. Is that correct?
At 2:30, and I'll probably move camp from this one here. The banjo was driving me a bit crazy, but yeah, I'll be back tomorrow, and I'll probably move camp somewhere.
Yeah, that dog's probably barking too much as well. So anyway, look, thank you, Warren. That was a wonderful set, and we're really very, very pleased to have you as part of our Sydney Folk Festival at home. Now, look, everyone, we are going to just show you a little preview shortly, but some people may have been experiencing a little bit of lag, and if you've been experiencing that, a quick way to fix that up is just do a quick refresh of your computer, and that should help with that. Now, I'm going to ask our good friend Dale from Podcast if he might just play us a little stream of some of the artists that we've got lined up for you over this coming weekend.
so well know those paths meet the soft green sward. Friends in there that we once did regard, we will trace out their names in the old churchyard. Mourn not for them, for their trials are o'er, but why weep for those who will weep no more? For sweet is their sleep, though cold and hard, their pillows lay deep in the old churchyard. I know that it's vain when our friends depart.
Well, I hope you're enjoying that little clip of Kate Burke there with Rob Zalitsky. Kate will be performing tomorrow night at the feature concert. Her husband Pete Wilde will be joining her, which will be a bit of fun. And of course, also on that concert tomorrow night will be Sage, their opening, and closing out the night will be Nancy Kerr and James Fagan, two of my absolute favourite performers. And I'm hoping that they will be doing some songs from their their new live CD. This is just stunning. Anyway, that's me just having a rave. I thought I was talking to you at some stage when the slideshow was going on, but I think I wasn't, and I have no idea what I've said and what I haven't said now. I think I've already asked you to refresh if you're having a lag problem with the video, and that should fix it up on YouTube. Anyway, I think we've got our virtual we've got our virtual room here. It's a sort of it's a funny experience, and it sort of doubles as a green room where the performers are waiting, and I can see Kajafi are getting themselves ready, so they'll be joining us very soon. And it's also a little bit like backstage. And yeah, it's a little bit like being backstage. So we've had a wonderful night of music tonight. You know, starting off with some old-timey music and a few dark folk classics there as well, from Shelley's Murder Boys. Lovely set, and really enjoyed that. And then moving to Warren, of course, really flying the flag for Australian traditional music and some of the really old music that we don't hear in quite that context anymore. It's lovely people reimagine it, but it's also nice to go back to the really sort of raw and original sound, and Warren does that so very well. And if you would like to see a little and hear a little bit more of that, of course you can join in Warren's workshop at 2:30 tomorrow. And of course we're going to, as I said, cross very shortly to Kajafi, and I can see they're all ready and raring to go, so I won't hold them up too much. But this year was meant to be the year of Scotland in Australia. It was meant to be a really big year where a lot of Scottish artists came out, and we did a lot of exchange programs, and there would have been a lot of focus on Scottish music, both the traditional, the contemporary, and also the instrumental and the vocal. And I was looking forward to that. I was in Scotland a couple of years ago for the visit, where we actually, a whole lot of festival organisers and agents got together, and we had a look at the music, and it was just going to be fantastic. And then COVID came along and wiped that all away. And so unfortunately we haven't had any Scottish artists out here in Australia, but we do have a lot of really fantastic Scottish music and performers of Scottish music in Australia, and one of those groups is Kajafi. And I think, Kajafi, if you're ready to go, I'd like to introduce you and let everybody enjoy what you've got to offer. So thank you very much. Here's Kajafi.
welcome to our home, and I hope you are safe and well in your homes. We just played a set of tunes for you. The first tune was called The Lass's Fashion, and apparently it's a tune from a Gaelic song, and the Gaelic song is a man wondering about all the intricacies of women's fashions, so it's called The Lass's Fashion. The second tune there was a tune by Charlie McCarran, who's a fiddle player from the band Cavalcade. It's called The Isle of Rand. And the last tune there was The Ale is Dear. Very dear.
Very dear.
We're going to sing a song. This song is called The Braes of Strathblane, and it's one of those one morning in May songs. Something happens. A girl meets a boy. The boy tries to persuade the girl that she should marry him. And she says no, and he says, oh, come on. And she says no, and he says, come on. And she says, oh, okay. And then, well, you'll see what happens. Down by yon green meadow, a so much effort to woo her, and she resisted so well. And then when she finally gave in, he just wasn't interested anymore. I don't know. Okay, we're going to continue on with some tunes. The first tune is called the Chanter's Tune, and it could be Scottish, it could be Irish. A chanter, for those that don't know, is the bit with the holes in the pipes that you play. So the Chanter's Tune, and often when people are learning pipes, they have what's called a practice chanter, which is like a bagpipe version of a recorder to practice on. So it's the bit that the fingers go on. So the Chanter's Tune. We're going to follow that with a Neil Gow tune. Neil Gow?
I believe so.
Yep. Called The Sailor's Wife. And then we're going to follow that with a tune which I wrote, which is called Alistair Fraser of Acoltabui and Glebe. Now, there is a very, very famous fiddle player called Alistair Fraser, but this is not he. In fact, this Alistair Fraser, in his village, there's probably 4 Alistair Frasers because of the old Scottish naming traditions. So this is a friend of ours, all of ours, in fact, who used to live in Sydney and played Scottish fiddle, and he used to, in those days, used to spend half his time in Sydney, in Glebe, and he spent the other half in his home village in Scotland, in a village called Acoltabui. And he is now in his mid-80s, and he is still playing fiddle in northern New South Wales. So this is for Alistair. very enthusiastic audience members here in our lounge room. Family, of course. So it is lovely to have someone to clap. It's a very, very strange experience playing to an iPad. Very, very odd. It's
But we're
strange.
not playing to an iPad, we're playing to the
Yeah,
audience.
yes, yes. It is strange days though, isn't it? Very, very strange days. Okay, we're going to play another tune now. And this tune is called Hard As My Fate. And it's called Hard As My Fate because apparently these were words that Bonnie Prince Charlie uttered at one stage when he felt that he had been betrayed by children. He was staying in the house of the composer of this tune's mother.
Maternal grandfather.
Maternal grandfather, there we go. After the Battle of Culloden, and he was secreted away in a room, or a hidden room, or something like that. And next door were some children, and he heard them whispering, and he thought that he was found out and he was betrayed because he heard whispering. So he apparently said, "Hard is my fate when the whisperings of children annoy me," I think were the words.
That's
Annoy me.
the exact word.
But it was about fear of betrayal. So anyway, so it's a lovely tune that may or may not have been written by Simon Fraser. It's in his collection, but it's not necessarily.
Yes, and his mother was one of the children.
And his mother was one of those children. So there you go. Shake off the fast vibes. to go, but I might just introduce you to the band. On octave mandolin here is Ken O'Neill, and over here, changing between violin, fiddle and viola fiddle is James Gastineau Hills, and I'm Fiona McVicker, and we'd like to thank the Folk Federation of New South Wales and the Sydney Folk Festival at Home for organising this event, because we really need some innovative ideas going forward with music and live music and having opportunities to play. It's very important to play for people, and it's very enjoyable to play for people. And yeah, so thank you very much for all of those involved for organising this whole event. And thank you for supporting it and coming and joining us here.
And there's more music tomorrow.
And there's more tomorrow and on
And
Sunday.
Sunday.
And on Sunday
Yep.
as well. So we'll certainly be watching some concerts in the next couple of days.
Cool.
We're going to finish off with a set of tunes with Ben Kajafi, and we're going to play for you now a Strasberg and a couple of reels. The Strasberg is called Captain Campbell's, and the reels are called Dolina Mackay and Jenny Dane the Weaver.
Was that
Okay,
fantastic?
we're going to switch around the mics, I think, to have a chat to Pam.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I hope so. As they say in session speak, that was cranking, lads. My God, that was absolutely fantastic. And we are going to have a little chat now to Kajafi. That's Ken, and oh look, here he is. That was
Hello.
quick. And here Ken, and a little bit of Fiona there, and I'm sure James is some there in the background. That was fantastic, guys. Really enjoyed that. Lovely way of finishing off our opening night concert, and a bit of a nod to the Year of Scotland too. I mean, if they can't come to us, then we're here already. Yeah. So what's you've had a CD that was probably late last year, was it, or middle of last year that you released that?
It was late last year that we
Oh, mid last year.
when
This
we
time
released
last
it.
year.
When we released it.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
Oh,
We-
yep.
Yeah, it was back in July last year.
it's had seen the light, isn't it?
It is.
Really?
Yeah, and of course, I bet you were out there promoting the CD, and then all of a sudden, COVID hits, and there. So, what have you been up to in these strange COVID times?
Homeschooling.
Yes.
Ken and I have a couple of well, we've got a teenager and an almost teenager, so we're managing those, and James and I are both violin teachers, so we've been teaching away on Zoom.
And the Scottish session in the Gaelic Club in Sydney has continued as well. So we've done that every month.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
On Zoom as well. So that's been really good to keep connected to everybody.
Yeah, this is the way the Folk Federation's sort of been planning to connect with our folk communities. I think we really do have to stay connected. I'm really worried that if we don't, there's going to be this great disconnect, and people will just sort of drift off into whatever. And we're all dying for live music to come back in a live context. But look, it's been lovely. The thing about tonight is we've had these great stages. We started off in Shelley and Joe's house with Shelley's Murder Boys, and then Warren Fay treated us to his camping trip with his backdrop, and then you guys had a really nice backdrop there with those lovely paintings in the background. It was really nice. Whose house are we in?
Ken and Fiona's. It's in our house, and my mother was an art teacher, so
Right.
So we have lots of paintings everywhere because they need a home. So it's I guess you grow up having paintings all around you if you grow up in a household with an artist, and it's other people who notice them.
Very inspirational. Yeah, so any look, we had so many fantastic messages coming through the chat about your performance. Everybody's loving it. There were people wanting to dance. I think a few people actually said they'd done a few steps and managed to get up and and do that. So look, that's it's fantastic. Really lovely music, and thank you so much. And we'll look forward to hopefully seeing you live in a live context. But if not, maybe at another one of these shows that we have to produce in the meantime. So thanks very much. Is there anything you'd like to say to anyone before I finish up here?
Say thank you very much to the Sydney Folk Festival for having us and inviting us to play. Great to be part of such a brilliant event, and superb that the festival is actually happening, and we've got volunteers that are able to make it happen. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
So if you enjoyed what they heard and they want to hear more, we do have our CD on Bandcamp, and we have our details on our website, which is record.com.
Yeah, we can over the weekend we'll flash some of those links up to people's websites and things. So, and we'll also eventually pop those up probably on the website as well, so that people can get some merch. Okay, thanks guys. Really enjoyed that, and we'll see you again soon.
Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, thank you. Bye. So I think we might hear from the guys from Sage now. I think they've got a message for us. I am hoping. Anyway,
As in hello, we are Sage and we're not French, but we are playing at Sydney Folk Festival this weekend and we're super excited about that.
It's called Sydney Folk Festival at Home and it's all online.
And we'll be playing this Saturday night, 15th of August at 7 p.m. as a part of the feature concerts.
Hope to see you there.
Bye.
Salut.
Yeah, lovely, lovely pair of guys they are, and they won the FAA Young Performer of the year in 2019, and that was presented at the National Folk Festival. Now, speaking of some young performers, I do want to tell you about two of them, and that are young Freya Peterson and Felicity Dowd. They were the winners of the Junior and Senior Folk Federation of New South Wales Young Performer Awards for this year, and of course they were meant to get their first folk festival gig at the Sydney Folk Festival, although I think Felicity's been playing around for a while. But anyway, they will be on our City to the Bush concert tomorrow, so if you haven't got tickets for that and you'd like to hear those young performers, they're really fantastic young ladies, and they've got a lot to offer, and I think we're going to hear a lot more from them over the next few years. But if you'd like to hear what they do, yes, you can get tickets for that concert. If you're buying tickets for any of our shows, you must get them before the show actually starts. You can't I think Eventbrite's not letting you get them during the show. But anyway, look, we've got a great lineup for you tomorrow. It starts with a Poets Breakfast at 10:30, and that's being hosted by Peter Mace. That one's pretty full. I think if you want to be part of an audience, that's great. But I'm pretty sure we've got a truckload of poets who want to share poems. So that's at 10:30. I'm actually running a forum tomorrow where I'm inviting people to talk about, how we're going to get through this time of COVID madness. And I've been to a lot of forums where I've spoken with festival organisers, but I think bringing in people who might be performers and just audience members and seeing what people think about that and getting a feel for, what people would like to see happen. So that's at 1 o'clock. Then we move on to Warren Fay's Beating Around the Bush, and that's happening at 2:30. And again, tickets still available for that, although it is filling up. And then 4 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, we have our City to the Bush concert, and that will start off with Rosa McDonald and Nigel Lever, a terrific Sydney duo, and they do a great selection of materials, some old-timey, some bit of Celtic influence music. They do some all sorts of things. There's just they're going to really kick that show off. Then we've got our two young performers in the middle, Felicity and Freya. Or Freya and Felicity in that order, actually. And then we're going to finish off with a couple of festival favourites, Chloe and Jason Rowath, all the way from Millthorpe out there in the west, west of the ranges anyway. And then, of course, we move into Sunday, and I'll tell you about Sunday a little. We've got a Poets Breakfast, or Poets Brunch, I should say. We didn't want to make it too early. And that's with Sarah Temporal, and she's going to be hosting that. Then we move on to a really fun thing that we're actually partnering with Illawarra Folk Festival, and that's our parody concert. But that's being hosted by Russell Hanna and Dale Dengate. Should be a blast, and we're looking forward to seeing what sort of parodies people come up with. We're hoping that we're thinking we're going to get a lot of COVID ones, so that's really exciting, and that's coming up on Sunday afternoon. And then of course we're going to finish off with our final concert, our farewell, and that will start at 4 o'clock with Oud Vibrations, and then they'll be joined by Craig Sinclair. Well, they won't be joined. Craig Sinclair will be following them. A great performer, and really love Craig's work. We only book people we love, but yeah, great performer. Sometimes seen performing with Peppercorns, but this time doing a solo show, and then we're going to finish off with Chaika. And Chika's a big band. Most of the acts you've seen or you will see over the weekend are duos, solos, and the trio, as in Kajafi and Shelley's Murder Boys. But Kajafi is a full 6-piece outfit, and they'll be coming your way on Sunday afternoon to close out the festival. So look, thank you so much for joining us. We are so thrilled that that people are supporting this event, because you are supporting our performers, and they're the ones that are really hurting hard with all of this nonsense that's going on. Anyway, I'm going to sign off. That's enough of me. I'm going to leave you with a song from one of our young performers. That's a song from Felicity Dowd, and again, you'll be able to hear her tomorrow. Good night, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us.
Praise the face of a man who lost his house and land. The world's gone up in flames. They tell us that we're still safe, but how do we sleep at night when Mother Nature's losing this fight? 'Cause we want blue skies, but we need rain. We can't face another fire or raging hurricane. For so long we're fighting drought. Next the floods take over and we lose the whole damn town. Houses we built up in rows are knocked down like dominoes. What was once a gentle breeze blows apart our families. When the water left the beach, Mother Earth quaked beneath our feet. Disaster struck again, a bittersweet revenge. 'Cause we want blue skies, but we need rain. We can't face another fire or raging hurricane. For so long we're fighting drought. Next the floods take over and we lose the whole damn town. She will still be here when we're long gone, like she was all along. Ooh, ooh, Cause we want blue skies, but we need rain. We can't face another fire or raging hurricane. We want blue skies, but we need rain. We can't face another fire or raging hurricane. For so long we're fighting drought. Next the floods take over and we lose the whole damn town. How can we sleep at night when Mother Nature's losing this fight?